Hey guys, what is going on? So today I wanted to make a video about Ana. I've been playing her a lot recently and I think she's an amazing support character. She's definitely a lot of fun. There's a lot of things going great for her right now, and I just wanted to go over her abilities and things that I do that can maybe help you guys be better with her overall. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so Ana's primary weapon is Biotic Rifle. It's a both hit scan and projectile weapon. If you're not aiming down sight, it is a projectile. If you aim down sight, it is a hit scan. Basically what that means is if you're not aiming down your sight, there's going to be a second delay before your bullet actually hits, and while you're aiming down sight, it'll hit automatically as soon as you line up the shot. It does 80 damage per hit if you hit the enemy, and if you hit a friendly, it'll do 75 health. It'll restore 75 health. There is 10 ammo in the clip, there's about a second delay between each shot, and there's a 1.5 second reload time. It does not have a headshot, so no matter where you hit on the enemy or friendly, it'll do the exact same number always. Ana's first ability is Biotic Grenade. Basically, it's this arcing grenade that she throws. It does 60 damage to enemies, and it actually has a lot of effects. So first off, aside from the damage that it does, it actually stops any enemies from gaining health that were hit by the grenade. So if you hit a Lucio, or if you hit someone being healed by a Mercy, they automatically will not be able to heal anymore. It restores 100 health if you hit yourself or a friendly, and the second effect it has on teammates is it increases the amount of healing they can do. So basically, it doubles the healing. If you hit a Reinhardt with it, instead of you doing 75 healing per shot, it'll actually do 150. Which is awesome because you can basically restore a tank from 10 health to full health in a matter of seconds. And there's no limit as to how many people you get hit in the grenade. As long as they're within the splash damage, it'll work. Yeah, it lasts for 5 seconds and the area is like 4 meters, so it's not that big. So you do have to aim it kind of precise if you're going for the farther shots, but most of the time I just throw it on the ground when I'm near my friends and I'll tend to get everyone around me. It does have a 10-second cooldown, so you should be wary of that. Now, Ana's second ability is Sleep Dart. Basically, it just puts any enemy hit by it to sleep for 5.5 seconds. It does have a bit of a delay before you shoot it though, and it is a projectile. So there's two things you kind of have to get used to while trying to hit them, but if you do land it, it can stop any enemy as long as there's no barrier or shield in front of them. It does have a 12-second cooldown, and in my opinion, it's a clutch type of weapon that can save your team from a lot of different things. I've used it on McCrees using High Noon, I've used it on Reapers using their Death Blossom, and even if the enemy team ends up nano boosting someone, if you hit them with that, it just saves your team. It's a great weapon, but I will say this though, it's a bit tough to get used to the timing, just because there's a delay before you shoot it, and it is a projectile, so you have to pre-aim it, and you have to kind of get used to that delay. But once you get the hang of it, it can really save your team in a lot of tough situations. Alright, now Ana's ultimate is Nano Boost. Basically, it's this dart that gives any one of your teammates a huge boost in stats. What it does is it'll give them 50% damage increase, it'll give them 50% damage reduction, and it lasts for 8 seconds. Now, it used to have a speed boost as well, whereas whoever got hit by it, their movement speed would be increased, but they removed that earlier in the patch, and it's a bit tougher to use now just because you can't just throw it on someone and they can run in. You actually have to time it while they're in the middle of a fight, but it's still a great offensive weapon, and honestly, I've used it on soldiers, I've used it on Reapers, and they can just go to town and do a whole team wipe with their ults because of the Nano Boost. Alright, now that you guys kind of get the idea of how Ana works, her abilities, her ult, and whatnot, I want to talk about the things that I do that help me be successful when I'm playing Ana, whether it be comp or quick play, whatever the scenario. Alright, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was how Ana is the most powerful healer in the game. Now, what I mean by that is she can do the most healing in the shortest amount of time because of her Biotic Grenade. She's great for when you're running triple tank or even quad tank if you guys do that. Just because other healers, whereas they would take time to bring your tanks and that many tanks up to health, like a Lucio, you know, he's not going to be able to bring 3 tanks up to full health in just a few seconds. Ana can do that. She drops her Biotic Grenade, she can hit all her tanks at once, a few shots in each of them, they're back in the fight. I feel she's really good for keeping the fight going, especially when you have like a D.Va and a Reinhardt just going to town with their attacks. You know, you're in the back, dropping that Biotic Grenade every 10 seconds and just keeping them up. She's not really great for when you're running characters like Genji, Tracer, or Pharah, just because it's kind of tough to hit those shots and heal them. Personally, I tried to heal a Pharah once while she was flying, and I missed probably 9 out of my 10 shots, and I think I just got lucky on that one shot. And just for that reason, Ana is simply a complementary healer or a secondary healer. Again, she's not gonna outdo a Lucio or a Mercy just because that's the nature of the character. She's more oriented to keeping the fight prolonged and actually disrupting the enemy team as well with her biotic grenade. You know, she's not gonna get the medals, probably not gonna get a gold medal if you have a Mercy or a Lucio, but she can do the most in a battle. She's great for changing those situations. You know, if you can keep your tank alive for a few more seconds, you know, it's really annoying when you have a Reinhardt just smacking away at you at point blank. And it's even worse when any damage you do to him, you know, the Ana on the other team is just healing him. So just picture that scenario and how rough it would be for the enemy team. That's where she comes in clutch, and she can just really alter the game. Now, another big impact that Ana has is her sleep dart. Now, once you can get the timing down and the delay of the shot and the projectile, it is awesome. So I personally don't use it every second I get it. I like to use it for select targets. If I know there's an enemy tank on the team, like a D.Va, she's a really easy target to hit. So in the beginning, I used to just aim at D.Vas or the tanks, and it would take them out of the fight for a few seconds. Now, obviously, if your teammates aren't aware that you're going to be doing that, they're probably going to shoot them and they're going to wake up. So you should get that a little sorted out. She's great for actually shutting down ults. Now, McCree, it's a bit tough because if he uses it and you turn around and you try to hit him, if you lined up that shot, then you're most likely going to die before you put him to sleep. But if you can get that shot off before he lines it up on you, boom, you just shut it down. Reaper, it's a bit tough as well because if it just drops on you, most likely you're not going to get it off. I have done it before where I just, you know, panicked. I hit the sleep dart on him, he got knocked out, and it saved some of my teammates, but I ended up dying. But that's another thing though, you know, you could save teammates like that. Sometimes I would just use it in the middle of a fight to take one person out for a few seconds. That would give us the advantage. It's tough I mean, for me, it was kind of tough to, you know, oh, I'm going to personally go and hit this target with a sleep dart, and then, you know, we'll continue the fight. Because, you know, things are always hectic, and because of the delay, I kind of missed a lot. But if you can take one person out of the fight, it's automatically a 6v5, even if it's just for 5 seconds. You know, you take out a healer, you take out a tank, that's just a little boost that you have, and those little things are what help you win the team fights, and sometimes even games in those clutch moments. Now, when I'm playing Ana, I personally play a more defensive Ana if we have multiple tanks, just because I make it my priority to keep them up and keep them fighting. You know, instead of me trying to do damage, I'll just try to keep my tanks up so they can keep their damage output going, you know. A Reinhardt that has a biotic grenade on him before he charges, you know, I'll try to keep hitting him while he's in the middle of the fight, and most of the time if he's fighting another Reinhardt that doesn't have that healing or that doesn't have an Ana, you know, my healing will outdo his, and in result our Reinhardt should win that fight. So, you know, that's one way I like to play her. Sometimes I do play her offensively if we're running more of a, you know, standard 2-2-2 comp, you know, especially if we have like a Mercy as well, where she can pick up the slack for the healing and I could focus a bit more on damage. Now the thing about Ana is it's not a, you know, a formula. Oh, you're gonna be healing mostly when you're doing this, or you're gonna be attacking mostly when you're doing this. It really does depend on the situation. Like, when I know our team is mostly at full health and the enemy is down to maybe a player or two, I'll try to play offensively and try to help them finish off and get those picks. But in like a middle of a fight when our team is starting to lose health, I know my damage output isn't worth it over not healing my teammates, so I will go and try to heal them. It's just about reading the situation, just about knowing where to be when, and, you know, who you should target as well. Obviously tanks are the easiest target for Ana, I mean the most obvious, just because, you know, you can bring them up really quickly. But her biotic grenade can just help everyone, especially if you have a Lucio. Throw the biotic grenade, Lucio's healing is insane then. Now, like I said earlier, Ana's ultimate used to give a boost in speed, so anyone you hit with it would be able to move really fast as well, but they removed that recently. So now you have to be a bit more smart when you're using her ult. Now personally, I use it on tanks just when there's no ults up by anyone else, and I'll use it when they're in the middle of a fight. So if a Reinhardt's swinging away at the enemies, that's when I'll throw it at him, rather than throw it at him and then have him go ahead and start fighting, because, you know, it only lasts for 8 seconds. You don't want to waste like 3-4 seconds for him going there, instead of having him just stand there, be in the fight, and then I give it to him. You know, I think that's more of a smart move to make. Another thing is you can use it to combo with other ults. So Reaper ult with the nano boost, that's a really good combo. The soldier ult, ever since he got that buff, it's also a really good combo. I've actually even used it on a like a high energy Zarya. She just melts really quickly. So you could really practically use it on anyone and it'll be really effective. And even if they don't get a bunch of kills, it's enough to make the enemy team aware of what's going on. You know, if they see a nano boosted Reinhardt or a nano boosted Reaper, you know, you don't want to be near that because it's most likely death for that person. So it just really makes the enemy adjust to whatever that situation is. But one thing is though, you have to be careful when you're using it in the beginning. You know, if there's a bunch of if a bunch of my teammates are in one area, I actually ended up hitting a Lucio instead of the Reinhardt. So we had a nano boosted Lucio jumping around, you know, which just was really weird because I wanted to nano boost the Reinhardt. So you have to be a bit careful with that. You want to be able to time it. It is a hit scan, so it's not like you have to really aim it. It's gonna show up on the marker. There's going to be whatever you have set to your ultimate. Most likely if you're playing on console it's Y, if you're playing on PC it's going to be Q. So you're going to get that little thing and just use it at that moment. Try not to move around. Hopefully you won't hit any other target. You can only hit friendlies as well, but you know, better having a nano boosted Reinhardt than a Lucio. I'll let you know that much. Now another combo that Ana can do is with Zarya and her ultimate. Now, most of the time, if you hit a Graviton and you get a bunch of people in it, you should be expecting a defensive ult, either a Lucio or a Zenyatta. Now, in the case of a Lucio ult, the best you could do is stop their healing and, you know, hope to even out the fact that they have a bunch more health than your team does. But in the case of a Zenyatta ult, it'll completely nullify it. So if Zenyatta uses his ult right and everyone's in that Graviton Surge, once you throw that biotic grenade on them, they won't be getting that rapid healing anymore. They will be killable, whereas rather than, you know, Zenyatta can bring everyone up within a second. So Ana ult can completely shut down Zenyatta ult if you can hit his enemies, hit his teammates. One thing you should be careful though is D.Va. You know, she can eat it up in a second and it honestly shoots just like the Graviton Surge. So you want to sync it up with your Zarya. That's another thing that can just really help. You know, one grenade in a pool of enemies just can go wonders for your team and completely turn the fight around. So just little things like that can really make Ana truly a deadly support. Now overall, I had a lot of fun playing Ana. She's definitely different than what I expected. You know, her grenade comes in clutch, her sleep dart comes in clutch. She has just these little things that can change the tide of games. She's just a support. She's supposed to be an old lady, but she's definitely one of the most badass characters in the game. I definitely had a lot of fun playing her. She does take a bit of getting used to, just because for sleep dart, her grenade, you have to get used to the range, the timing, the arc of the biotic grenade, and her gun as well. You know, it's one shot every second, so you have to get, it's just a bit of an adjustment period, but once you figure her out, she's definitely great. I feel she outdoes the healers when it comes to burst healing. You know, somebody that's getting pocket mercy, you know, I would rather have an Ana pocket a Reinhardt because you can just bring her up, and she can even save herself in situations, whereas a Mercy, you know, she would have to fly away or try to run away. Ana can actually fight on her own, you know, to a certain extent. So overall, I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this helps you figure out things about Ana that you didn't know before, and these tips make you just a better Ana in general. So until the next one, catch y'all later.